7 o'clock, call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Fine will be here momentarily. Okay, we get the motion to accept the minutes of March 4th.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Get motion to accept the financial report and payment of the bills.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Budget amendments, Steve?
Yes, I want tonight, budget amendment number 2014-006 is to recognize $5,475 of forfeited fees funded to the town in the funding of the replacement of the hot water boiler at 101 Main Street.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept budget amendment 2014-006?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, who's replacing the water heater? What company?
It's the building on the Elkton Lines building there.
That's correct.
Yeah, but I said who's doing the job?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, it's fine. Thanks.
okay, I had a motion and a second.
And that was the question I had too as well. Did we take bids on that or just gave it to local? No? Okay.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
It was an emergency, they lost it, breakdown.
Okay. We have a certificate of special recognition. So if Sergeant, come forward. Okay, the Mayor and Commissioners of the Town of Elkton, to Sergeant Angelo Joffes, being known as Mayor and Commissioners and the citizens of the Elkton community, hereby recognize and commend the outstanding performance of Sergeant Angelo Joffes for saving the life of a citizen who was suffering from cardiac arrest on September 28, 2013. As hereinafter described, Sergeant Joffes responded to a call of an individual who was having difficulty breathing. Arrived to find a locked residence, he quickly and safely gained access to the home and found the individual on the bed, clutching his chest. Sergeant Joffes provided first responder emergency care until the arrival of EMS personnel. Sergeant Joffes is commended for his quick and decisive actions to save the life of another, and hereby applauded for his extraordinary performance in this situation is presented the certificate of special recognition given under our hands and sealed this 19th day of May 2014. Mayor Persona, Commissioner Hicks, Commissioner Piner, Commissioner Trabonsi, and Commissioner Gibbons. Congratulations.
Can you take another picture? Here's the real recognition. And since this is a Kodak moment, let everybody come down there with it.
Want to cut up by the seal? Like we did before, by the seal? Up here?
Back there? Yeah, let's do it there. Bring it back up here.
See how
Everybody gonna say cheese or something?
Cheese or something.
Let me get one more for good measure here. So quiet here.
Thank you very much. Sure.
such and such and great.
Sergeant Giappi has the distinction of being the father of triplets.
That's right.
That's my headache, yep. Yeah, that's on video. A loving headache, I know. Very loving.
Okay, Louis, we got a couple of yours. We got not quite 7:10 yet.
Okay, we have a public works agreement before the board tonight with Hertford Properties 12 LLC. This is the property located out across from the mall, 1147 East Pulaski Highway, under current development. Public works agreement contains improvements including 800 linear feet of 12-inch ductile iron class 52 water main, installation of 1 8-inch ductile iron class 52 water service line, the installation of 2 Mueller Super Centurion 250 freeway fire hydrants. These will all be turned over to the town of Elkton once they're constructed. Hertford has already provided a letter of credit to guarantee that it's the installation of this, and I would recommend that we enter into a public works agreement with Hertford Properties 12 LLC.
Okay, do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second?
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, when is their anticipated date to open? Or is there one? Or projected?
I have no idea
Okay.
when they will open. I know they still have, they haven't started the building yet.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Got time for one more there, Louis.
Elkton Alliance. You have the thing? I have an alcohol waiver request from the Elkton Alliance Inc. For March 27th, Citizen of the Year Banquet, the Elkton Municipal Building. According to the code of the town of Elkton, the mayor and commissioners have the authorization, have the authority to grant a waiver for this particular date, March 27th, 2014. I would consequently recommend it.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, it's 7:10. We have a public hearing. Community Development Block Grant Project. Jeannie?
Good evening.
How are you?
Fine, how are you? When we receive CDBG grant funds, we're required to have a public hearing in the middle of the project to elicit comments from the public regarding the project. In this case, this is a public hearing for the Bell Hill Water Tower Rehabilitation Project, known as Maryland-13, MD-13-CD-9, under the state CDBG grant. The project's located at 311 Bell Hill Road and entails the repair and rehabilitation of a 400,000-gallon water storage facility, water tower. The total project cost was originally estimated at $791,788. The town of Elkton had applied for and received a grant from Maryland Community Development Block Grant for $500,000 towards this project. The town's contribution was anticipated to be $291,748. K&K Painting and Construction Company was the lowest bidder and was awarded the contract for $419,000 on August 26, 2013. The original contract was for 90 days. However, due to the unusually snowy winter we had, the contractor requested and received an extension for an additional 90 days on that contract. The new date for completion of all work is April 25th, 2014. There was one change order to date to the contract in the amount of $13,500 to install an interior ladder and safety climb device in the tank for proper access and to comply with state safety regulations. This increased the contract with K&K Painting to $432,500. The project is still anticipated to stay under budget with the savings hopefully to both the town and the state. We're not finished the project yet, and I envision that there may be an add-on to paint the Elkton logo on the side of the tank.
And a cathodic protection.
and the cathodic
That's
protection.
got the number on it.
Oh, okay. The purpose of this public hearing is to see if there was any comments or concerns from the public regarding this project.
What kind of protection did he just mention?
Cathodic,
And
its cathodic protection has to do with metals reacting to each other.
It's a device that puts a myoelectric current inside the tank in the water that prevents electrolysis and corrosion of the tank. It was in there before, we have to replace it, we don't have a number on it yet.
thanks.
Okay, this is the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this project? Again, anyone wishing to speak for or against this project? Okay, then this public hearing is now closed. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you.
The tank is probably 75 to 80% done. I don't know what the interior mill readings are on the paint, but I think the interior is practically done, and they're working on the outside, so they should get it well done within that 90-day extension that they got.
So the protection that you talk about, how long lasting is it? The length of?
Body protection?
Yeah.
I don't know, the last, 20 years.
Okay.
But you have to put electrodes in there
Right.
from time to time, but the actual device would last a couple years. And if it doesn't, you can hold me accountable 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Louis.
Okay, the next item I have is the resolution R3 2014 debt refinancing loan. I'll read it into the record. Resolution of the Mayor and Commissioners of the Town of Elkton authorizing a loan from the PNC Bank to refinance debt in the general fund. Whereas the board, in accordance with the charter of the Town of Elkton, Article 8, is empowered to borrow money for purposes deemed appropriate by the board. And whereas the board has determined that outstanding debt in general fund shall be refinanced in order to mitigate the cost of interest on that loan. And whereas the board on May 5th, 2014, via resolution R5 2004 approved the borrowing of $3,980,000 from the county banking and trust, the repayment of which was based on an amortization period of 180 months and an interest rate of 3.62%, said rate being fixed for the first 60 months of the loan, and that said loan agreement provided an option for refinance said loan after 60 months, as well as no penalty for prepayment for the principal. As the board is well aware, county bank was consumed by, what was it, the bank, PNC, Mercantile, and then now it's PNC Bank. The board, through its staff, solicited interest rates from PNC Bank, which acquired county banking and trust, actually Mercantile, in order to refinance the existing loan. The board has determined that a loan to refinance the debt in the general fund and the anticipated savings and interest on the loan is in the best interest of the town of Elkton. Now, therefore, the board hereby resolves the following: that the town of Elkton shall refinance its existing loan in the principal balance not to exceed $1,423,261.18 from the bank, and that the loan agreement shall specify the monthly repayment at the amortization period of 60 months, at a fixed rate of 2.35% with no penalty for prepayment of principal. And that the board authorizes the mayor to execute all appropriate and necessary documents and instruments with regard to the aforesaid loan, and to further negotiate the terms of the loan, including the amortization period, interest rate, repayment, reduction of principal with the bank as applicable, favoring the interest of the town of Elkton. This resolution shall be effective on the date of adoption, assuming that you will adopt it the 19th day of March 2014. Mr. Repo has informed me that the interest savings over this period of 60 months is about $44,000. So I would recommend the refinance under R3 2014.
It's very good. That's a big savings of $44,000. That's really great for the town. Okay, do I have a motion to accept resolution R3-2014?
I make a motion, we accept resolution R3-2014.
I have a second.
Second motion.
Okay, have any further discussion?
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
After you, Mr. Goodness.
I was going to simply ask, with all the difficulty we had with this particular situation, has our relationship gotten any better? Or would there be a go-to person or a person of contact? Should we ever endeavor to seek a loan or do whatever in the future?
Well, after we had a meeting with them, we know a local person, Mr. Ham, would maybe be one to get their attention, maybe get quicker action should this happen in the future. We're extended periods of non-responses from the bank, but had not gotten Mr. Ham involved until just a couple weeks ago. And that seemed to be one of the catalysts to get some action on their part.
So you don't know where he was doing all through this process. Fortunately, he was there at the end, but...
Right, now, I was not dealing with Mr. Ham, I was dealing with a person who's actually out of Baltimore, who we worked with and got the loan for the automobiles about a year ago. And there was no issue at that time with that loan. But this was a very different animal for whatever reason. Earl?
Well, my questions are basically the same questions as Mr. Givens, Commissioner Givens has asked, but just concerned with the assets that we're actually letting them handle for us. All the difficulty that we did run through trying to deal with our local bank, we need to find a better way of handling it because I was a little frustrated the way it was handled and exactly the connections that were passed through certain hands without the board even being aware of the steps that were being taken. I think the next time something like this happens, we all need to be on one page instead of trying to figure one or two people going to contact whoever's in charge. Like I said before, that should be done face to face, not through no phone or not through no email. I think the next time something like that happens, we need to find out our contact person, sit down across the table, and make sure that the numbers are given directly instead of on phone or email.
And I just want to chime in on that as well. I mean, I definitely concur with both commissioners and their comments. And again, the challenge to the town would be, to take further steps. In other words, approach other banks, seek out other opportunities. As just a matter of just good business practice.
Okay, have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, Lewis, I think you have one more thing we just got from
Yes, I
them.
have a proclamation of the Mayor and Commissioners honoring National Service Recognition Day. Whereas serving to others is the hallmark of the American character and central for how we meet our challenges, and whereas national service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for all those who serve. And whereas national service participants serve in more than 70,000 locations across the country, bolstering the civic, neighborhood, and faith-based organizations that are so vital to our economic and social well-being. And whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas the AmeriCorps members and Senior Corps volunteers demonstrate commitment, dedication, patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, commitment that remains with them in their future endeavors. Now therefore I, Joseph L. Persona, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Elkton, and on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and citizens of the community, do hereby proclaim April 1st, 2014 as National Service Recognition Day, and encourage residents of Elkton to recognize the positive impact of national service and thank those who serve and give back to their community.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the proclamation?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Mr. Hicks, any old business?
Old business. I think as a matter of old business, I think we discussed at one point the Elkton entrance sign at the Twin Bridges. And I just wanted to know, have we actually looked at seeing if we could do any better than that basic sign that's up?
Well, we did, and it,
Actually, we did.
Did.
Very extensively.
Yes.
Communicate with the state highway and turned into a rather expensive, time-consuming process. So we abbreviated that process by having the state highway install a sign that they had previously approved and created at their expense.
So I guess, okay.
It wasn't to the expense of Elkton.
Well, I
State
definitely
highway
recall.
expense.
I definitely recall us discussing that, but the end result is a sign that looks to be barely standing at this point.
Barely standing?
Kind of leaning over. It's a very basic looking sign. And my question to you is maybe we can actually take another look at that to see if we can do a little better for like the entrance to the town of Elkton. See if we might be able to do something.
If I might add, Commissioner Hicks, I just put in a grant for new signs for all the gateways
Okay.
that I'm waiting to hear. It was just about a week ago, the grant was submitted.
and that's the sign you're talking about. That's leaning-
At all the gateway entrances, the
Yeah,
welcome to
is
Elkton.
that the wayfinding or no?
No, that's not wayfinding, they're the
Separate.
gateway signs.
Okay.
The wayfinding signs were a state project that Gene was working on
Right,
with tourism, and then they canceled the project
Right.
once it got to Cecil County and,
Right. Yeah.
or,
We seem to be falling a little short. So, but you know that sign. You know, I'm just looking at a initial impression as you come into Elkton. See if we can do a little better than that.
That you're
I
talking about
need the
this.
board's authority because it will require more than just a suggestion. It will require a motion as far as the board because I'll have to go back to the state highway and initiate a whole process of a gateway sign again.
Well, given the
We've already
information,
resolved that at one point in time by having them install that at their expense.
given the
they're two
information,
different signs.
what's that?
I believe there are two different signs you're speaking of. There's gateway signs that are on town properties at all the entryways to the town.
Right.
That's their colors off, their everything, they need to be
Right.
replaced.
Right.
I don't know if that's what you're looking at, or, is that what you're looking at? The
That's-
Welcome to Elkton
Yes.
gateway signs?
Yes.
That's what I submitted a grant for, and I'm waiting to hear.
Like Jokers and.
Yeah, they're all on town property.
Okay, I got you.
Well, this one, if you're talking about the one between the twin bridges, some time ago, we're going to, the state highway, and along with Delegate Rudolph, we're going to put some signs at both ends of the town. And he was figuring on the state paying for them. And when we went to a meeting with them to look at designs and how it was going to be done, we got a shock because they said they weren't going to, that we had to pay for them.
No, I
We had to
remember.
do all the work.
I remember. We
Yeah.
just definitely we fell short on
And
that
it's
one.
very costly on, because what they, you know, they're, where they have things made up, you have to follow their rules and make it and everything else.
Absolutely. All right, that's pretty much it.
Okay, Charlie?
I have none.
No?
One of the things I brought up before about if we have to change the route of the trash pickup, was there another way to actually help some of the citizens who don't use the internet? And I had mentioned, I called back in the next day, wondering if we could possibly put a message on our phone message, like, you know, the office is closed today due to weather. If there can be an instant message put on so that we could have another avenue for the citizens to be able to at least call and see if the trash is going to be picked up today or if it's going to be delayed. Because I know there's been confusion at the last minute whether or not, if it snows, whether or not trash is going to be picked up. So I would just say that it would be a good idea to go ahead and use that phone system if that message could be put on at the last minute to help the citizens. Just-
Well, all you have to do is call Public Works, I know some
Hold on.
uh, I'm talking about administration. If Public Works puts it on, administration could add it on theirs also, because people call into this number a lot, but no one's here to answer that question for them. Thank you.
All right, Joe?
Old business, at our workshop, we discussed the proposal from American Energy regarding making our buildings more efficient. I was wondering if anybody thought about it. For the public that was not here, we received a proposal for $71,949 to redo Town of Elkton, Public Works, Parks and Rec. With a rebate, our cost is $8,202. And the savings we could see within a year is $10,473. So we would see the savings in the first year for going with this program. I was curious if anyone thought about it. I think it's a great program, like I said before. And I know you had a few mentioned about maybe coming in and doing another audit because the audit was a few months old back in October. But I really think it's something we need to look at to be more energy efficient.
Okay.
They did say that we need to start turning off the lights if we're not using them. For one, to start, maybe we can cut the cost down that way. The people that are just leaving lights on, that's where it is pushing the cost
Keep the
up.
heat down just a
So
little bit.
if we want to start with anything, we start with that.
Well, this program's not going to last that long. I mean, it's probably another year, and I really think we need to look at it.
And Mary Jo, we also discussed, Commissioner Jablonski, I'm sorry, we also discussed the exterior lighting as far as the main streets and around our buildings as well.
Yeah.
So, maybe they can do another walkthrough or at least add that to it. I know the mayor had some questions about some of the numbers that were kind of different from the first walkthrough. So I think once they do that, maybe we can discuss it, because it's definitely a good idea anytime it comes to saving.
Yeah, we just gonna need an update or so. Okay.
That's all I have.
New business. Actually, I have a couple things. I received a letter from the president of the Assembly Volunteer Fire Company. He was unable to be here, but he wanted me to read this tonight. It's the Honorable Joseph Fasona, Mayor of Town of Elkton. Mayor Fasona, greetings to you, Mayor, and the Town Commissioners. My apologies for not making the meeting tonight, but I had another commitment I could not break. I would like to take this time to express my sincere appreciation for the efforts of you and your staff on resolving the water pressure issue at Newark Avenue Station. This was an ongoing issue for some time, and after requesting to meet with us as a group, a solution was found. After reviewing the situation, restoring adequate pressure to our station was done by the town staff. Our membership is truly pleased with this outcome and is greatly showing of cooperation between the town and our department. I would especially like to highlight the town staff that was vital in making this happen. Mayor Joseph Fasona, Louis George, Mr. John Craig Trossel, Mr. Dan Haley, Mr. Mark Turnbull, Mr. John Kenneth Bennett, and Mr. Ryan Flickinger. As always, we look forward to working with you and the town on projects in the future. We hope that this can-do attitude between us continues as it helps our citizens of our town. Sincerely, Philip Scott, President of Assembly Volunteer Fire Company. Phil has just become the new president of the fire company. The other thing, Louis and I and Dave Gula from MAPCO and Tony Giacomo from the planning of the Cecil County went down to Annapolis at the request of Senator Hershey and Nancy Jacobs. They put a bill in, Senate Bill 1035, Maryland Transit Administration Mark Penn Line Extension. The bill requires, among other things, that Maryland Transit Administration extend Mark Penn Line commuter rail service to Elkton by January 1st, 2020. That it negotiates a contract with Amtrak, who operates Mark, to provide at least one morning and one evening service, and that it determines the feasibility of further extending Mark to Newark, Delaware, where Mark would interface with SEPTA and Amtrak services. So we went down this afternoon and we testified for him. I don't know where the bill's going, if it's going anywhere, but his request, we did go down there for him. So it was an experience. That's all I have. You have anything new there, Commissioner Hicks?
I was going to also comment on the resolving the pressure issue at Singley Fire Department, and I was glad that we got that up to the point that everyone was satisfied with that. Also wanted to, I guess, congratulate the town as far as taking a good step forward with the new website. I haven't heard any comments on it yet, but it looks good. So I look forward to us using that as much as we can. Also, just some further comments about the Citizens Police Academy. I know this year we actually ended up canceling it due to lack of participation, but I just look forward to us, possibly, using as much as we can to get that out and see whatever we can do to get the more participation up. I know it's no fault of the current administration, but just different things that we need to do and try to do to get that up. Just I'd like to help out with that as much as I can. And that's it.
Charlie?
Louis, I guess this question goes to you and I guess Public Works. What, with the amount of moisture that we have, and certainly there's potholes across the nation, across the country, across the state here in Elkton, do you all have a plan to address that? Because I know it's going to be a cost.
Yes.
As well as time commitment.
All the pothole areas, failed pavement areas will be saw cut and infilled with hot mix asphalt. We'll start doing that.
Pardon?
We'll start doing that.
So how, well, I guess they will determine basically, I guess at this point, those that they have seen and those that need to be repaired. I guess you're going to rely on people.
All roads will be inspected and those potholes will be repaired.
I'm right there, the restaurant downtown, where, what is that becoming?
A great
Or is
asset
it?
to the town.
Pardon?
What are you talking
The
about?
restaurant where the, at the corner.
Me?
Brothers.
Oh,
I see
Brothers?
somebody in there.
Brothers, they're in there right now redoing the floor and the ceiling.
So what is that going to become, a restaurant again?
A restaurant
Okay.
again. There's a couple people now interested, but the property owner is going in and doing some repairs.
Well, I just happened to see you walking today downtown. That's the reason why I asked, so.
Yeah.
Thanks, that's it, Joe.
That's it. Earl?
I have no.
No, Joe?
I don't have any new business.
Okay. Mr. Lemon?
(103) Walnut Lane. A couple things I was going to talk about, you all have talked about already. So, the first question I wanted to ask though is what is the status of the county sewage request? Where do we stand on that?
We just had a meeting. He's not,
We met with the county already and we have to resolve our I&I problem in part of the Elkton Heights before we'll be able to assess any additional capacity in the sewer line in the Blue Ball intercept.
So is there a time
Currently, there is
frame?
no capacity to allow any sewer flow from the county.
Is there a time frame on that?
I don't know. I can't
I
tell
mean,
you
as far
that
as
because
to get
our
that resolved?
analysis of that section of the sewer will be based on wet flows. In other words, when we have a wet flow, go out and camera it, and we don't have meters. We don't have meters, so we'll just set the camera and determine where it's coming from. That's how we'll do it. Our public works will do that.
So that's number one. The second thing I wanted to mention, and some of this comes from when I went to the workshop, I was impressed with the last workshop meeting. Earl, I was impressed with your personnel suggestion that your personnel director go down and be with the manager of the department. That was an excellent suggestion.
Thank you.
As I think about it, the Public Works Department is not located in this building. It occurred to me that maybe it would be a good idea if the personnel director would go down there once in a while and be available to meet with the people down there. You have a large number of employees down there. And just a suggestion. And I know they come in early in the morning and go out early in the morning, but it would seem to me that would be a further extension of what you talked about. Anyway, personnel is really important, and that was you have to be very knowledgeable in that area. So that was a very good suggestion, which you're going to do. So the personnel director's going to do. So that's good. My third thing here, which you already talked about, is the American Energy Report. I have numbers similar to what you brought up. I don't know if you said this, but the payback would be in less than a year. And so I'm just putting my 2 cents worth in to say that I support that. And and I know that it takes a certain amount of cash to do that. So one suggestion I might have is if you enter into a contract, you could do it in phases. So you put your money out, when you get that back in 30 days or 45, then you do another section, then you do another section, and that may, I don't even know if you have a cash problem, but if you do, that's just a suggestion. And then, Mary Jo, you brought up this idea of the street lights. Is somebody pursuing that? That's a very good idea.
Yes, I actually spoke with Delmarva, and Delmarva, they do not have the LED lights here in Maryland, but they're looking elsewhere because there have been other programs for the street lights, and American Energy is also looking into the street lights to see if they can find them to replace the lights.
No, we just got a call today, didn't we, about, is that the same lights? We're talking down the,
No, the board had asked that the walkway, the West Main Street walkway be upgraded. So I talked to Delmarva about use high pressure sodium and replace the globes. That's what they're doing, but they don't have LED lights that would go there yet. And that's their poles.
Yeah.
They own those.
But they work hand in hand with American Energy.
Yeah, that's where I would go. In fact, if that, one way to approach it is to say to them, if you come up with that plan, we might give you the order for the other stuff.
That's right.
One way to do it. And that was another place, Earl, where you've already brought up in the meeting, but energy costs a lot of money, and if the town is probably already doing it, but to put out an emphasis in every department on the importance of saving energy and come up with new ideas and better ways to do it, that's a very, you came up with that at the workshop. It's a very good, and tonight, that's a very good idea. I like that. Another idea I liked was Commissioner Givens' idea of town communication. And I was told, if you put out something in writing, it's $2,500 or something like that, so that's expensive. But the two things I think need to be communicated is, number one, information on the election, however you do it. You all would decide how to do that, but I think it's very important to get out the information as to when it is, where it is, so forth and so on, and encourage people to vote. One of the problems in recent elections is that participation has been very low. And the town grows, but the election participation shrinks. So that's to my way of looking at it as an issue. So I'm suggesting that somehow or another we get the word out to the public that it's very clear and understandable where they're voting. And it's, a lot of people probably don't even know where this building is as far as the town building. So that's one suggestion. The other suggestion that I like from Mr. Givens was the website. Now, you say the website is up, and I've used the website before, but I didn't know the new one was up, so I'll have to look it up. But is somehow to get that word out to the people in town. Just like you're talking about garbage pickup that wasn't done Monday, so it was done Tuesday. If people knew to look on the website, that information can certainly be there and tell them what it is. That's one way to communicate what's happening or not happening or whatever. But I feel very strongly, and I think Mr. Givens does, that people need to know about this website and how to access it and that kind of thing. Because from what I understand, I was here when the presentation was made on the Aberdeen website, and I'm assuming, even though I don't know, that this is similar. And that was kind of nifty. So anyway, that's just my comment on that. And the last thing I would mention, I understand that the numbers are coming in pretty good on the budget, which is good. When I mean coming in good, they're coming in, some of them are coming in lower, so that's good. I haven't heard discussion on the mayor and commissioners yet, but I've taken all the budgets, 13 and 14, and compared them for the number of employees and the dollars and so forth and so on. And I did want to say this is not my notes, but just comparing 13 to 14, it looks like a fairly credible job was done in most departments, reducing some costs from 13 to 14, and hopefully that's what we'll see going from 14 to 15. As far as the budget for the mayor and commissioners, what I'm suggesting is that this pay from 13 to 14, it went up $8,230, but that was mostly because you have $6,500 in there for election expense that you have this year. You won't have that next year. So I don't know what your budget's going to turn out to be, but I'm suggesting that if you hold into the numbers where you are now, that will set an example for everybody else that works for the town, as to that you're trying to conserve, and you set the example, and the rest of the people will understand that you're in the same boat with them.
That's true.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look, can we, with the new website, I noticed, like, I think one of the other towns did it, or maybe Rise and Sun, put a little blurb in the WIG and let everybody know that we have a new website up and running.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that if we had done a press release yet.
Okay. Yeah, I believe Rise and Sun did that when they put theirs
They
up.
did.
It was in the newspaper. And we put something in the WIG. Mr. Witzenberg?
Good evening, sir.
Bob Litzenberg, 105 Walnut Lane. This question is really for three commissioners. Start with you, Mr. Piner. Were you advised of the meeting with PNC Bank?
No, sir.
You were not. Mr. Givens, were you advised of the meeting with PNC Bank?
No, I wasn't at.
Mr. Hicks, were you advised?
No.
It's kind of amazing to me where these three commissioners were not even in the loop. And Mr. Hicks was the one that brought it up, that you've been negotiating or supposedly negotiating since June of last year. I just don't understand why that these three commissioners were not advised of the meeting that you were having with PNC Bank. Can anybody answer that? Why?
I will start if you don't mind. I brought it up in April of last year about.
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about
I
the
know,
meeting now.
I'm going to say why I requested this. In April of last year, I suggested looking at refinancing these loans because the rates had dropped and there was better rates out there. We looked into it, and then I knew that there was a holdup in Baltimore. So I personally made a call to PNC Bank here in Elkton because I think it's important to deal local, and I know there's been local people here involved for many, many years. So, and they did not know that it was still hanging out there because of what Mr. Repole was going through with Baltimore. And that's when they called a meeting together, and I asked to be present.
I also went to PNC Bank the next day and advised them the same situation we're talking about here. The one in town, opposite town, wasn't aware that this was going on, but anyhow, they made it clear that they would have people there. But my question is, why were these three commissioners not in the loop to come to that meeting? Can anybody answer that question? I'm not going to get an answer, of course, but I'd just like to know why.
Well, they couldn't attend the meeting because it had to be advertised as an open meeting. It would violate the Open Meetings Act.
Well, why didn't you leave two out and have the other three?
That's the prerogative of the board.
majority.
DJ?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
DJ Van Renen, Dana Van Renen, Foxborough Court. Couple observations. First of all, tree pickup. I want to commend Public Works. My Christmas tree was finally picked up. It was covered in snow, enormous amounts of snow. And I called them, and I did see on the website that they stopped picking up after, I think it was January 31st. So I called them just in case, and I called them in the morning that afternoon. It was taken care of. I really appreciate that. I believe it goes a long way for every resident here when you can pick up the phone, make a phone call. The woman was very nice. Boom, it was handled immediately. A couple things that I've been watching, Newark. And again, in the paper today in the CISA WIG, they talked about the standalone power plant along with the data center. And one of the concerns that I have is they talked about an environmental issue. And it's a huge concern, I would think, for the town of Elkton, because a lot of times I smell, where I live at Chapel Run, I smell the chocolate from the cocoa plant. I think chocolate should be its own food group, so I'm not too concerned about that. But when they talk about the standalone power plant, it's going to create its own issues. Newark is having an open discussion about that. A lot of attorneys are going to be there because of this issue. What is the town of Elkton doing to reach out to Newark saying, hey, what are the potential side effects here as far as a standalone power plant? Standalone meaning that they're not going to be a part of the grid at all. They're just going to be there. That power plant's going in just to make sure the data center has its own power. And then they have the backup generator. There's a lot of issues there, but is anybody from the town of Elkton actually talking to Newark saying, hey, what's going on? Second part of my question is if Newark, and really the answer from the first part would answer the second one, if Newark finally squashes this, is that something that we would want to look into depending on what type of EPA issues and or smog or whatever the true issues are? Has anybody reached out to Newark?
No, we haven't.
No.
If Newark applied, Newark, their environmental is controlled by what's called DENREC, which is different. DENREC, in some cases, will communicate with the Maryland Department of the Environment on certain issues. Air quality issues may be one of them. We've never been notified by our regulatory agency that this would have an impact in Maryland. So if it's an air quality issue, so if it's not a water quality issue either, so we're not sure what the impact might be.
Well, and that's my concern also, not knowing exactly what it is. Should we not be more in tune with what's going on surrounding us? And also, as far as the...
Now, your question was, are we involved in it? And the answer is no, we're not involved in it. And then I was trying to give you a process by which we would be made aware of it through DENREC and MDE notifications down to have an opportunity to interface with them on this issue. Normally, we don't cross state lines, municipality to get involved in this. If it doesn't affect our water or air quality, and if it does, it'll go through the regulatory agency and a public hearing and things like that.
I understand what you're saying. So there is no communication between townships, between Elkton and Newark, then, as far as any type of issues that may arise. That was really about it.
I do know, DJ, though, the county economic development, they do keep in contact with what's going on in Newark in that area. So there are people there that attend the meetings and keep in contact.
And report back to
the county.
The county, and then who from Elkton or Northeast or Perry or whomever?
Sometimes
Talk to
Gene, our
them.
planner, is involved with these things, so
So they always make you aware of everything that's
if
going on.
there's something
then.
that we need to be aware of, yes.
Do we know how many jobs will be coming there,
To,
that power plant?
I do not know.
The pub that went in, I've tried to eat there twice and it's been packed. I mean, that's wonderful. The outside of it looks great. Couldn't be happier. I mean, I was disappointed that I couldn't get in to get something to eat, so I haven't tasted their food. But what is the town and or the Alliance doing to make sure that we bring in bigger businesses? I believe that is a decent hook, but what else is going to sustain it and not happen like the Howard House? And I know the Howard House had its own flaws, but just one thing there needs to be a lot more coming in. And what is Elkton doing for that?
Do you want me to speak as the Alliance, or do you want me to speak?
I don't. I just wanted the question answered. That's all.
Yeah, right now I am working with landlords in the top part of the street where Brothers Pizza is and the corner, one just rented. There is a problem there with landlords in that first block right there. So we are working with the landlords right now. Some of the buildings need to be fixed up. Some of them you're not able to rent. But, you know, if you want to come to my office, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. You know, what's happening there. As you can see in the paper today, the other businesses that are top of the street, they're doing very well.
Yeah.
The hospital is now coming there, and they've adjusted their food hours for the pub to have food till midnight because the 11 o'clock shift is coming to many hands. So the word's out there, I think, and we have now attorneys staying in town.
I don't disagree with you. I'm excited that it's there, and like I said, I would love to try to taste their food, so I'm gonna have to get there on an off night if there is going to be any
Very
off night.
good.
It may not be an off night,
I
the way
know.
it's so packed.
Talking about the lighting and stuff like that, I'm actually pretty versed in that. And is there a contract, or have you guys talked about a contract as far as a maintenance program along with that? Have you gotten that far on that?
What
No.
we're gonna do is have them do re-audit.
Right.
They'll do a re-audit and then give us an estimate of the work to be done, and then they'll offer us a contract. The contract could include maintenance.
Have we
They have
talked?
to re-audit because it's old. It's old.
Yeah, and I know that that's a very cutthroat industry. Are we planning on taking a look at other vendors that are out there, or are we just going to?
The interfaces with Delmarva.
Right.
That's the incentive program between American Energy and Delmarva.
Yeah, there are a lot of vendors now that are out there. Some are coming in from Virginia, other states. This was one of the first companies that was approved by the state of Maryland when they started their B-Spark program. American Energy, the person that runs that, was one of two people that had all the certifications to be able to put this program to work. So they are,
And partner with Delmarva.
and they partner with Delmarva
So there
and
should be some
Elkton
type of
Gas.
discount because of that. And any contracts that we enter into with vendors of this nature, are they open for public discussion, or is that something that's handled behind closed doors?
No, any contract could be open, discussed at a public meeting, it'd be against the law.
Fair enough.
This was discussed at our last workshop. That's why Mr. Lemon knew about it.
Going back to the big business in town and stuff, it was upsetting because I'm a sports person, and it's very upsetting to watch the county spend so much money in putting ball fields and other fields in the Calvert area. I'd love for them to be in the Elkton area. Also, the power plant that's going up the road, there seems to be all around us a lot of bigger type of businesses coming to those areas. What type of proactiveness are we doing to get big or bigger type of projects coming here? Is there anything that's being discussed? Is there anything in the future that I'm unaware of?
Nothing. Yeah, then Jeannie, we have
Yeah,
Jeannie
our
come in and see
planner
you all
is-
the time, right?
Yeah, I interface with the public quite often. A lot of times, real estate brokers, commercial brokers, want an inventory of properties. The county has worked with all the towns to develop an inventory jobs-related properties, industrial properties. So we have the Upper Chesapeake Corporate Center, which has available land. They've got the infrastructure, the roads. We also have other brownfields, former brownfields on 213 that's available. I just met with someone last week out of Pennsylvania that sat down with me for about an hour. We went over all the parcels that were available in town, including the small commercial parcels on Main Street. And she was very interested. I gave her a full list of the properties, and told her if she had any questions, I'd be happy to help with that.
Are we doing anything to reach out to bigger businesses? Is really the question. Are we making sure that we're on somebody's radar? I mean, that's the true question here. I mean, we got to, and don't get me wrong, I mean, the pub downtown again is great, and the other people
Now, I
that are
know what
coming
you're
in, but we
saying
need
for
bigger
generate
stuff.
some tax, right. I know, well, go ahead, Jean.
Well, the county is officially our arm of the, deals with economic development for the town, for the larger industries. They have their own economic development department that pulls people in. They interface with us to make sure that they have the selection of available land that they could market. Commissioner Blonsky, as the Elkton Alliance Director, deals with the smaller commercial properties within Main Street, the Arts and Entertainment District, and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And the enterprise zone too, yeah.
Yes, we do have an enterprise zone that was just expanded last year. We participated with the county. The county identified enterprise zones throughout the county in the different towns that would, if you expand a business or open a business, you are able to get some tax credits.
The if they're in charge of our bigger EDC, then who in the town is talking to them about? Okay.
Yes.
To make sure that we are looked at for bigger things like the ball fields. And again, that's something that's close to my heart. I would love for it. We have land available. I would love for it to come here. The last thing that I have is I saw with the Alliance using the town building for the Citizen of the Year. Are they paying for that?
The upstairs?
Yes.
No.
Are they renting that? They're not paying for it?
We don't rent that room.
At all. So if I wanted to have a meeting there, then it would be free.
We do rent
Oh,
it. It's Parks and Rec rents
Parks
it.
and Rec.
Parks and Rec rents that room out occasionally to people that want to rent it.
but we've had other
For private
businesses.
people.
But
Yes.
for
Like the
private.
Union Hospital
Right.
sometimes has meetings up there.
Well, the Women's Club,
Municipal League
Women's
or
Club uses it too.
American
A
Home
workshop,
Hardware.
but these
Right.
are
Okay.
governmental or nonprofit agencies.
American Home and Hardware has had
Private.
meetings up there and hasn't,
But they would have,
they haven't
No.
paid anything.
Oh, American Home Hardware,
they'd have to pay if they wanted to use it.
yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they have a
Because they're
Christmas?
private, for
Oh,
profit.
right.
All right. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hearing nothing else, the motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned.